Joining fields, taking over. No one can deny we're queens in our own rights. Got our fleet, we're ruling the game. Turning heads, yeah, we're making our own name. Living free, we're breaking the mold. Unapologetic, we're standing bold. Every picture we post, it's a story untold. We're inspiring souls, watch us unfold. Watch us unfold.
Hey, ladies. Hey, welcome back to Rooted in Your Confidence. I am Samantha Kay, the Brag Brag strategist, helping women in male dominated industries reclaim their voices, own their value, and stand their ground without apology. Today, I'm joined by a woman whose work and story I know is going to speak to many of you. Padma, she's a multi award winning woman in tech, ranked number 4 in the top 10 diverse leaders in UK tech. With over 24 years of global experience and more than a decade coaching women and entrepreneurs. She's the creator of the Triple E framework, helping women move from self limiting beliefs to authentic, high impact leadership. And what I love is that she's not just talking about career moves, she's talking about confidence, visibility, and creating spaces where women are no longer the first, the only, or one of few, but part of the conversation, respected for what they bring and rooted in their own power. Welcome, Padma. Welcome. Tell me, I described you, but I want you to tell my audience about you yourself.
Thank you, Samantha. It's always humbling to hear that introduction. But as you rightly titled brand bag, I think all women need to have a brand bag and learn to use it. I didn't for a very long time because we are brought culturally, we're told to be humble, don't talk about your achievements. So, yeah, that's been my journey. I'm born in India. Dad was in the army and mom was a homemaker, which meant that every 2 years we had to move a city. And India, moving cities is almost like moving across Europe, one country to another, because every town has its own language, has its own culture, has its own cuisine. So, and I had to go into a local school, learn that local language because it was mandatory to learn and write the exam in that language and make friends. And by the time you make friends, it's time to move again. And that built that sense of adventure and resilience, I think, because some places really didn't go well. I struggled to make friends. Some places you're judged. But it was all about let me get my work done and get on to the next city that we need to move. My mom was a huge support. She was a homemaker. She didn't have as many opportunities of education that I had or what women generally have now. And but I could see she was very driven. So she had dreams and aspirations for me. So every town we would go and she would learn that local language and teach me within the first 2 to 3 months. Thinking about it now, I'm wondering, gosh, how I couldn't learn French over 2 years in spite of having a tutor. But she who has learned like 5 languages to teach me. So I speak 5 Indian languages. And that is aspirations and dreams that she had for me. Unfortunately, I lost her when I was 12, which built the rest of my life, defined how I led rest of my life. I, that was my driving factor. I wanted to make mom proud. I wanted to win at everything I did. It sounds like a wonderful thing. It sounds like an ambition. It sounds like the right thing to do for your mom. But I realized much later that it was a baggage I was carrying. Good things can also be a baggage, is where I'm coming from, because it led to burnout. It led to physical health issues. So I have chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, and fibromyalgia. It's just an invisible disability. I live in constant pain. And a lot of it now, the specialists take it back to childhood trauma, which is never addressed because it was about being strong and keep going and make her proud. It was one mission to the next, the exams, getting a career, getting married, having children, being a great mom. I wanted to be a mom that my mom couldn't be. All of those settles in your body somewhere and it defines you. in a good way, but it also has its pain that comes with it. And that made me step back after 25 years in a corporate world where I went through all of this and learned to navigate it and learned to live with my disability and be successful in what I did. But I had to step back and look at what was the what is deeply rooted in me, which is good for me and which is holding me back. And that's how the first E of the Triple E framework came to be, to explore. And that's what I am, a person who is exploring myself, and in that way helping other women to explore their own life and pick those factors without holding them back.
Wow, that is beautiful. And your story, I tell you, to lose your mom at such a young age and then understand everything that you have accomplished was because of you were being driven. And later on, the effects that it had on your body that you developed and to explore, help women to explore who they are and what they're doing. That is, I think everything in life is a lesson. I think everything in life takes us step by step. Our mission has a purpose because of who we are. The first people that we learn to coach and heal is ourselves when we're on a journey to get to the other side. That's one thing. So I see that you took your journey that you were on and you have now allowed yourself to help other women to explore themselves. That in itself is a win, and it's nothing more that brings me joy than to see other women helping women, because it is sometimes the challenges that we face that we don't understand that keep us from moving forward and getting to that next level. That's one thing that I know. But I know before you started helping women to explore and get to know them, you worked in a male dominated industry. You were in tech, you was at STEM, you were doing big things. So I know it was male dominated. And that's look, basically, that's how we really met, talking about male dominated industries. Could you tell us a bit about being in STEM and being the first, the only, or one of few?
Definitely. Funny part to that is that when I started my career in tech, which was quite accidental, in India, you choose to be an engineer or choose to be a doctor. It is just a cultural, social pathway. So I ended up in a tech career, went in, I thought, let me explore this, just figure out whether I like it or not. And surprisingly, the lower base of the pyramid in the tech industry is pretty much heavily women dominated. It's, at least in India, we have about 50-50, sometimes it's even 60-40 women versus men when they hire them. Because women really study hard, they are ambitious, they get those scores they need, they clear interviews, and they get the jobs. But then what happens is between the middle and the senior level. Because what happens at the lower level, we put in 200% of our effort. We just feel so grateful to be offered a job. We want to go above and beyond, and we feel we have to do 200% to be noticed and over deliver and under present, that we don't talk about it. It's
Oh,
over
yeah.
deliver, under represent ourselves. And we set the bar so high. 12 hours, 14 hours of work days, we take it very personal. I've done that. I had my first daughter and came out of the maternity leave, dived into a large bid, and I used to work 10 hours, finish at night, 10 o'clock, feed her, get back in for a review of the bid at around 12 o'clock. It was just normalized. We would never say no
Yeah.
because we wanted to achieve that. So what happens when you get married and you have children or you have other responsibilities, or at some point you decide it's not suiting, your health is being affected, the numbers of gynecological issues women face, everything increases because you're sitting 10 hours, and hence fibroids and polycystic ovary just became so common, and being anemic. And then you realize you're forced to reduce your hours. When I say reduce, come back to the 8 hours a day. And suddenly you're not seen as contributor because the men can still do that. They choose to continue working, may not be 14 hours, but they're still doing more than 8 hours. And they would say they don't have to take the child to the hospital or be the primary caregiver. So there is a big outflow of women in that mid level. They don't get recognized, they don't get promoted, there is frustration, and then further seepage as you get to the top. So, where we find women struggle most is somewhere between the mid and the senior level. I was at the senior level, and I have seen women go through those struggles and make those difficult decisions of having to give up because of personal burnout. Their health gives way, their family breaks down, they are torn with guilt because they're not able to spend time with the children. Children have issues because they're not getting time or at quality time with the parents. All of these barriers, or I feel it's like bondage, tie down women, and they quit that work stream between the mid and the senior level.
Yes.
And the growth also stalls beyond that. That is where I seen that the women need to do something different. If you, whatever brings you into the technology industry in the first 2 3 or 4 years, whatever helps you with success progress will not be the same things which will help you going from being a project manager to being a project director. It has to be more strategic. It's not just I will do more. I was doing 10 hours, I'll do 15 hours. I will not say no. I'll pick every opportunity that is thrown at me. That's not going to get you to the next level. It's a more strategic. It's about reclaiming your voice, creating a brand so people see the gap when you're not there in the meeting room. They notice that we are not getting that value if she's not here. It's not just about having a seat at the table. It is about having your voice heard at the table, being seen.
Right. Because that's what I work with women on, not leaving the table because they get the opportunity. But leaving is what we either the microaggressions or, like you saying, family lives suffer because, or we beat ourselves up and we don't allow ourselves to stay because we have these expectations that society, that families, our families, meaning ancestral norms, have taught us that we're supposed to be at a certain place doing a certain thing. So we no longer allow ourselves to feel that we can split ourselves in two places. And so I get it. I totally get what you're saying, being in that executive level. And now you have to make decisions for not just the job, but for yourself, for your health, for your family. And I wonder sometimes, is it because we're worried about what everyone else is thinking and saying about us? Or is it something that internal that's keeping us from showing up?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's a good measure of both. Had a client, Sandra, I think that she kind of fits into this scenario you mentioned. She had got promoted. She fought hard, she worked hard, and got that promotion to be a program manager. Like she was from a project, she was or going to take up 100-member team and be part of some big decisions. She was so excited and thrilled and grateful that she got that position that she didn't want to rock the boat, right? So she would go into meetings and become extremely cautious about presenting her thoughts. A meeting room where she was a minority, she didn't want to be seen as somebody, what if they think I don't deserve to be in this room? So it was her, she was being held back. And the second one was she didn't feel her opinions were heard. So after a lot of struggles and courage, she would go in and express an idea, and it would always get mansplained or passed over. And when that happens multiple times, you start doubting your own capabilities. You feel you're not ready for this. I'm not good enough. People call it imposter syndrome, but basically it's a systemic driven invisibility. And after that's when I got to meet her, and we tried to break down what was that fear. She First thing was she had to believe that she deserved it. It was nothing to be grateful about. It was not a favor. She deserved that position because of the potential the leaders saw in her. Because she had already delivered results, she had got that promotion. So that was a big wake up point for her to realize, gosh, I deserve this. I don't have to be grateful. Nothing I'm going to say is going to rock the boat. The second piece we had to work with was, how does she create visibility? How does her voice stand out? Rather than trying to slip back and be invisible, how do you make yourself strategic? And that required change in the language she used. Most of her sentences would start with, I just thought we could do this. I have feel we shouldn't be doing that. And the minute you say I just and I feel and I think, there is a pattern of
Diminish what you're
consumption.
saying. Yeah, you
Exactly.
diminish
There
your
is a
value.
change. And it was a conscious change in the way she used her language, her body language. It even involved changing how she dressed into those rooms. Still be her authentic self. You don't have to do power dressing, but wear something that instills power in you. You feel good about it, right? It's not for anyone else. You don't want to wear clothes just to become not noticed.
Oh,
And it will not be a conscious decision. Have you noticed that a day today I'm wearing pink, you're wearing pink too? I'm feeling
yes.
cheerful. I'm looking forward to it, and it shows the mood. Then there,
Does.
yeah, and
It
every
does.
day when you go pick your clothes, there is some unconscious decision which is telling you pick this versus pick something else. And many times, I've seen women who are going through really hard, difficult time at work or self confidence, lacking clarity. They actually wear a lot of black and gray and brown. So they're blended.
Oh,
And I told her, what is your favorite color? And she said, I like orange. I said, that's it. You won't add orange to everything you wear for the next week. It could be orange earrings, it could be an orange necklace, it could be orange jacket. Add it. And it's for you. I want you to feel cheerful when you see yourself. And that made a difference. These are some simple things. It's basically act like you have. Right? Believe before you see. Many earlier it used to be see to believe. Now I say believe to see. And when you see yourself, others see you that way too.
oh yeah, definitely. I think that it's all about us as women being conditioned. We have been conditioned when we are in different positions that were not actually where we were not actually thought we would be, as far as the world did not build certain positions for women.
Yeah.
And them not building these positions, we unconsciously have allowed ourselves to agree with it. So when we step in there, we then move according to what they believe until we become conscious of how we're showing up, until we realize that it's not just what they're saying and they're doing. It's about us recognizing ourselves that, hey, I believe this too. This is why I'm not showing up. I'm moving in action of being accepted by. That means we become people pleasers, excuse me, and we start moving with their energy instead of creating our own energy. Like you said, the colors that we wear, the clothes that we wear. A friend of mine, she is a designer. Hence, she'll be on the show also soon. She's talk us about exactly what you're talking about. Those colors, being bold, being bright, being brave enough to step out of what the norm and what society has said. Because I was talking the other day to a friend and we were talking about that gratefulness that women feel. We're so grateful for having opportunities. We're so grateful, but we fail to understand that we've earned each and every one of them. Hence the brag bag. Because if we bring reach into those brag bags, we're no longer just searching for those small things to be recognized or to be liked or to be loved. We learn to like and love ourselves first and foremost, and we
Yeah.
show up. I mean, no matter how many of the challenges, because I know you've probably faced challenges at that senior level dealing with men. Do you have any that you would want to share? Like, what challenges that shaped you to leave and to step into your own business?
Challenges I have faced are not just from men. And I think many women will realize there are also women who can hold you back. So, in both ways, being standing your ground becomes really hard when you feel that there is no choice. And that was the situation I was in a year back after 25 years in this industry and having led women empowerment programs, diversity and inclusion, etc. I faced with a situation where I had to stand up to my boss. She was a lady who wanted to limit my growth. And it was against a lot of the ethics and values that I stood for. I had the option because I had a lot of bosses, men bosses, who said, "We will support you. You just sidetrack, keep doing what you're doing, and this will go away." I could have done that for the same amount of money, do less work, and keep my head under and continue. And I guess whom I went and asked advice from? My daughters, my 17-year-old and 8-year-old. They saw me, I was in tears when I had to make the decision. And I asked, do I quit and give up everything I built in this organization? I love my team. I love what I do. And sidestep, or go with what is being done and carry on. Immediately, my daughter said, "Mom, you'll never be happy. It's everything against what you believe in. Every morning, you're going to look at the mirror and you're going to feel miserable about it." And that was a wake up call for me. I also believe what I decide on that day will be the driving factor for my children when they face difficult situations. And hence, I took the decision to step away. And they saw that doing the right thing is not easy always.
Yeah.
But knowing that you have a choice and it is your choice is very liberating. I have met a lot of women who face such difficult harassment at work and within the teams, but they are stuck for financial dependency. They do not have for health care, child care. They're the single earning member, and you feel stuck. And hence, you endure that kind of harassment, lack of growth, burnout. And I tell them, I understand, but still, there is a choice, just that the choice is very hard. For a few months, you may not have childcare. For a few months, you may not have insurance. I understand. I'm not telling you pursue it, but acknowledge that is a choice where your safety, your physical, mental safety will be secured. And once you acknowledge it, you feel liberated. And I have applied this at various points in life where I had to stand up against a bully boss who, within 3 months of coming to the UK from India, he treated me so badly. I didn't realize it was bullying because I've not encountered. You think bullying is when somebody is rude to you or somebody physically shoves you, or you don't know. But this guy was the most polite guy. He had the British politeness, but he was undermining me constantly. Every report I would send, he would get reviewed by a graduate. I had come with 13 years of global experience. He would not let me speak in meetings. He would contradict me. He would mock something I would say. And I didn't realize that was bullying until 2 months later. I realized my confidence had completely wiped out. I didn't think I was good enough for that role. I doubted whether I should continue. Should I go back to India, which is a very hard decision because we are moved with family. But first step was to acknowledge that I was not in a good place. And my diminishing confidence, I didn't understand was external. I just thought I was not good enough. I spent some time understanding why I felt that way. I then found the root cause was this person's constant undermining of my authority. So I confronted him, invited him for a meeting. We didn't even sit down. He walked in, I was standing. That all these is reclaiming your power, right? You're in a position of power when you're standing. And he came in and I said, first question was, what is the problem you have in working with me? And he was taken aback. Nobody had questions. He was like, I don't have a problem. I said, this and this is what you have done. I put in the facts. And I said, these are not ethical. And these are not even aligned to the policies of this organization. So that confrontation, I could reclaim my power. It could have gone both ways, right? When you face a bully, the two ways that could go. One, you walk away because to protect yourself. Other, you stand up to them and you should be ready to walk away if that doesn't go by the plans you had in mind. I was okay, but if at least I had was doing my best for what I believed was right for me, and that changed the dynamics. From then, the next 1 year, we worked with mutual respect. And that's all I asked. At the end of the meeting, it was just a 10-minute, I said, can we work with mutual respect? I bring certain skills and you bring some, and together we can make this program a success. And both have claim to that appreciation. And he understood. We worked together amicably. But after 1 year, when there was a question of whether he wanted to continue with me, he said no, which was perfectly all right. I didn't want to. But that reminded me to stand up when you face that kind of harassment. You don't give away your power.
And that is so important that we as women, we get to stand in our power and
Yes.
understand. And kudos to you for doing that, being able to stand in your power, because many women think that they have no power, that the things that men say, the things that they do, the little underhanded side jokes, their ability to make you feel uncomfortable by maybe sitting up when they're talking to try to intimidate you, to speak over you, learning how to use your voice is very liberating. It breeds independence in the office with other women and for other women. Not that we're fighting, but we're moving with ease now, because you no longer feel that you're at battle, because battling is exhausting. And I could
Yes.
just imagine you being exhausted, because I've been exhausted. I know my clients have been exhausted, but understanding that you no longer have to move in that energy allows you
Yes.
to think more, because I don't think we think as clearly when we're in a battle every day, every time we wake up, every day that we get dressed. I remember going to work, sitting in my car. When I get out, I used to say, I got to get armored up. You know how exhausting that is, that you feel that you have to be armored up before you go into a job, and
Yeah.
understanding that your voice is your power, and which is their kryptonite. And that's our superpower. Being
Yeah.
able to use our voice in itself is a win, because so many people, so many women, excuse me, get caught up in the thought of making other people unhappy, making other people think that they're not respectful, because this is what the patriarchal system has taught us to do. This is what they've said, that, hey, women are supposed to be walking this straight line, look a certain way, do this. And especially when we're in environments where we're one of few, or even if it is a woman, because I did a talk at an organization, it was women, and they was like, well, what do you do when it's a woman? You handle it the same way, but it's a different type of pressure when you're dealing with men, especially when, depending on how you were raised, culturally, what you've been programmed or seen unconsciously all your entire life. So understanding that your power, those labels that they give you, you're bossy, you're bitchy, you're this, you're that, doesn't have to be what you take on and
Yeah.
carry. Besides the fact that you have to be in battle, we get to show up. We get to just be as human beings, like you and I get to show up. We get to just be who we are, be present in our value that we're bringing, in the knowledge that we're bringing, because all of that is a percentage that's stacked up day after day within our brag bag. Yeah, within there. So being able to do that is a win for me, and knowing that I'll take some of those things that they say about me because it makes them uncomfortable. Oh, you're
Yeah.
such a strong woman. You don't need nobody. Yes, I am. I am strong. And that's why I'm here. So and like you said, learning how to have the conversations, being able to stand up to your boss, being able to say that this is not policy. A lot of women don't know that they can't. And you
Yeah.
giving language to that allows them to be seen and to be heard. And that's a win. And I think that's what is so important, us being able to stand in our voices, stand in our hearts. And it is scary. It's one of the most scariest things that we as women can do sometimes, especially if, even though you may see someone else doing, you think that they may have some type of influence. Or I know a lot of times, a lot of people say to me, Samantha, well, you getting ready to retire soon. So your voice, no, honey, I had this voice for a long time, but it was me doing the work on myself.
Yeah.
That's the win. I think I'm not sure for you, was it you doing the work on yourself that got you to that point where you felt speaking up? I know you said you spoke to your daughters, but before that.
Yeah, because I've always, from early on, I think it kind of came from my dad, his military upbringing. He believed that hierarchy does not matter. You go, if you believe something is right, you've got to speak up. And that came very early on, and which is very alien to my culture. Women and young girls were not expected to speak up or stand up for what's right, what's wrong. So I always did that. So it came naturally to me. But when I moved to the UK, I mean, and I think many of us, when you go through a big transformation, a big change, because I have worked in America, I had worked in Europe, but they're all temporary. Like I was single, I was young, I was not. Sometimes you're just ignorant about all these differences happening. You're just going like a bulldog, right? Going at it, just working, and you're not expecting anything in return. You don't see discrimination until it hits you. Right. And that's how I felt when I came to the UK. I went in for a sales role, and I had not done sales before, but I was very good at the product that we were trying to sell. And I had another person, another guy who was coming with me on the sales pitch. He was two levels below me in terms of designation. He was there more in terms of fixing any technical issue when you're doing a demonstration, etc. But through the entire presentation to the client, or even the conversation before we went to the presentation, the client would never look at me. He would address everything to this guy in the room. He was not the business solutions guy. I knew I had the solution to his problem. For every question I would ask, he would look at this guy and answer. And it was very strange. It had not happened to me before. And I didn't know what was wrong. Did I offend him? Am I not speaking legibly? Is my language not good enough? First thoughts are about doubting yourself. And then I consciously paused and let them have a conversation. And I could see this guy was getting hot in his seat because he didn't know have the answers. And he was wondering why I was not pitching in. And I let it run for about 5-6 minutes. And then I addressed the client and said, would you want to reschedule this meeting with somebody that you're comfortable with? And he didn't know what I was talking about. I said, look, you seem very uncomfortable with me in the room. So I can reschedule this for another time, and I can have somebody, because sorry, he's not the business solution. I have worked on the solution for the last 6 months for you. We have been communicating over mail. So we could do it another day. I knew I was risking a lot here because the client could have had the option of saying that was very rude. I could go and walk away. But the thing is, he was also not doing it intentionally. It was his conditioning, right? Nobody had called out to him. And he apologized because he had not noticed that he was not speaking to me.
Yeah.
And he apologized and he said, okay, let's take a coffee break. And we reconvene. We actually went, and in the coffee break, he tried to break it all down, and he talked about his family, eased up. He went back to the room, and we were on track. So sometimes you got to do those gambles because you're not being seen. You all have a seat at the table. You have the solution to that problem. And it's not something about anger. It is just they also need help.
Yes.
They have not been told what they're doing. And we might be doing the same thing. I have noticed too. If in a meeting there are other women, I have a tendency to look at the women or address the women because it comes from my experience of women not being seen. So I want them to be seen.
Right.
So I consciously spend time and make sure they're participating in the meeting, and I call out, what do you think about it? Now that could be seen as to somebody else saying, oh, she seems to be addressing the women more than the men. But I feel women need to do a little more for other women because we have spent ages trying to fend for ourselves. Now that you're at the table, help other women to reclaim their voice. Give them that spotlight, give them that space so they can express themselves. I do that consciously. So there can be an unconscious belief that I give more opportunity to them, but I'm okay with that.
That is excellent. Like you said, us being there for each other as women,
Yes.
supporting each other, giving each other what we need to step up because you're right. A lot of times we don't realize that we aren't standing straight up. We don't. And until we become conscious of it, recognize it, we'll just move automatically. We'll just move. And being able to be conscious is a win. And I think about it as you were talking, it made me smile because you're right. Sometimes we just go with the flow. And when we recognize it, we start trying to pull other women because we know what it's like on this side.
Yes.
We know the joy when we start recognizing ourselves and what's going on and having that power and that voice, because we get to change the world. We no longer look for other people to change it for us. We start taking on, standing in it, being present. So we like, yo, if she speak up a little more, I know I already be planning for other women. Sometimes she say that what she said was really good. And if we start allowing her to speak, they're going to see it too. Trying to pull them on to sit at the head of the table or sit closer to the front so they're not spoken over. Because I think all of this is learned and unlearned behaviors. And I think it took me a long time to unlearn a lot of the behaviors
Yes.
that had been instilled in me. I'm going to say instilled because I picked them up, but you know, how you're supposed to act like a lady. You want to be seen. You don't want to be too much. You don't want to, you don't want to out talk. You don't want all of these things to keep us in a certain place so people would like us. So we feel it's the right thing to do to be studious and sit there. And like you were saying with the colors, like, oh, everyone is wearing black. I tell people all the time I'm powerful, whether I'm in black, blue, green, pink, and purple is my favorite. So no matter what color I'm in, I'm powerful. And if I walk from the back to the front, I'm still know what I know. And I still allow the people to hear my voice. So I always want another woman. I did a workshop and it was a man came. I'm not sure why, but he did. And it was funny to me because, none of the women wanted to talk because he was in there. Not one. I was really shocked. And it was, even though it was for women and he came and I still directed questions toward them, they didn't want to be part of the workshop anymore. And even no matter how much I tried to pull and grab, that intimidation that women feel when they're in a room with men, it's a little mind blowing to me. I'm not sure. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we spent too long trying to gel in, right? To not stand out because it has been so hard. We have tried to blend in, fit into certain molds. And suddenly when there are questions, when I've gone into these workshops where if there are men, because we do leadership workshops, usually it is gender agnostic, but that doesn't have the same safe space because we have always been cautious of being judged, and we don't want to be judged again. We feel like, oh, we have come this far without expressing our vulnerability, without telling them what it takes to get to work every day, all the pep talk we give, the reinforcements and we have built within ourselves. We don't want to expose that to the men, and then they will see us through and realize that we are vulnerable. So that has happened quite a bit, and I've seen that when I run workshops just for women, there are breakthroughs, things that they can say which they didn't even know they wanted to say before, because they need a place to thrive. We have constantly been in a survival mode. We don't know the difference between what it is to thrive and what it is to survive, because only mode we know is to get through every day and be grateful for what we have heard, what we have been offered, that we don't realize that why are women constantly exhausted? Besides the fact that we are doing the laundry, planning the whole day for the whole family.
Keeping up with doctor's appointments, cooking meals, doing,
Exactly.
doing all the things.
And then when I talked to some of the women, and when one of the clients who's trying to was facing burnout but didn't know she was facing burnout, she just felt, I'm tired all the time. And guess what was suggested to her? You should join a gym and work out more to build stamina so you're not tired. And I'm like, and so what did she do? Since she didn't have time to set aside for the gym, she bought a walking workstation so she can work while she's also walking. She's still using it. She's pretty thrilled about it. She says, I get my 10,000 steps while I'm working. I'm saying, do you realize what you're doing with your body? Your body has been asking for help. Your mind is asking for help. That's the reason you're in pain. That's the reason your sugar levels are pre diabetic. That's the reason you have your blood pressure is going up. Your body is asking for help, and help is to reduce the stress on it, not add walking and working
At the
together
same time. No.
at the same time. But we are conditioned like that. We cannot give something up. We cannot give importance to ourselves. And we don't even acknowledge the fact that we are burning out. We are exhausted. And why are we exhausted? Can you imagine sitting in like that all day and we're working? That is how we are inside. We are molded, we are malleable, we have contorted ourselves to fit into molds we have been told all our life. Corporate molds, social molds, cultural molds, your familial molds, and we have contorted in all ways, and we are accepted that this is my position,
Yep.
and we are okay to be in pain. Pain has been normalized.
Yes. In order
And
for us
I
to be ahead.
realized, yeah, and I realized because they diagnosed fibromyalgia for me and chronic fatigue to the point that I couldn't function, that I had to pause, rethink my life, and I now listen to my body. Look, and I don't listen. I don't have a coach for fitness. It's not a personal trainer. I have a coach who helps me listen and understand my nervous system, understand the damage I've done over the years. How do I come out of it? How do I savor? Who would think that you need a coach to teach you to savor the silence, savor the garden, savor your cup of tea,
Yes.
and just be calm? And that's what I'm doing. And that's exactly what I have told this particular client. Instead of trying to unwind and come out of your mold and put down your baggage and let your body relax and your mind find its space, acknowledge that you are burnt out, you are exhausted. It is not wrong. You're not failing anyone by saying that you're tired and exhausted. We say it. Every woman we meet, oh, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. But it's a lip service. What are you doing about it?
No, I get that completely. I do, because like you said, we as women, we get so caught up in the hecticness of the day and becoming and being what everyone else needs, because we don't know the needs of ourselves, because we think that our roles and responsibilities are who we are. Though that is not who we are. Figuring out who we are as a person,
Yes.
allowing ourselves to be that, and giving ourselves the time. And not until we do. That's what it is. Learning that personal side of you. Not what everyone else told you should be, or how everyone has defined you as a human being. You get to be you. And until you figure out who you're going to take that label or that name and take it on as an identity of who you are. And learning
That-
to rest is a win. Learning to just be is a win. And knowing you. And I listen to you, because I don't teach burnout. I teach time management, because burnout means you're totally done. It's nothing left, but it is something left, and I think words have power. So when I work with clients, and I know everyone talks about burnout and it is relevance to it, but I know it's us not giving us what we need, and not being able to stand in that, knowing like, hey, Samantha, you're not managing your time, or Brenda, you're giving too much time here. Let's sit down. Let's map it out. What you doing? And then why are you, and figuring out the why you're doing it. That desired thing that you want, you can't accomplish because you're showing up here doing all of this that the world has defined you as, and which you've taken on because you don't know you. And that's what I work with, and that's how I understand it for the people that I work with, that them understanding them learning to love them, give themselves everything because we learn to patch things up. I'm going to put a spa here, a shopping spree here. I'm going to go on vacation here while you're depleting your bank account and you're still coming back and you're coming back to that same place that you were and understanding how to move. And you see how I move my body instead of always with the fight and always with exhaust in flight motion, always being ready to go. I've learned and I teach clients to move with and be
Yeah.
easy with it. And they can then get to that point. But it's first figuring out who you are without the labels. Let's strip them all the way down. I say animated, even though I hate that. And I don't hate it. I take it now as a win because I had a boss tell me that one time that I should not be so animated because I was given directives. And just like I am now, but that's part of my
That's
personality.
you.
So I'm no. So I just believe the words that we say are powerful. I believe that who we are and getting to know us allows us to show up differently in these workplaces. It allows us to show up differently in our lives and it gives us our own power. It allows us to stand on business, as young people say, stand on business, stand 10 toes down. And my mother used to always say, stand flat footed and be rooted in whatever you're doing when you know who you are. Because I think that's what, no matter what you're doing or where you're going and how many people I help, not until they know who they are can they actually root themselves in their daily lives and put themselves in a position that's honoring themselves. Will the world change around them? Because they can't change everybody else. But once they start evolving in their own self, the world around them has to because they're becoming unshakable. They're becoming who they're supposed to be. So the world shifts to accommodate them because guess what? You're not moving. You're rooted in that. So I just love those things like this because it just allows us to help so many women become who they are. And we did because we're close to time. I just want you to know we're close. I see we can talk, but you had mentioned your framework. You've mentioned the first E. Did you want to share how you help high impact leaders with that framework?
Sure. So the first is at the entire discussion today has been about self exploration, finding that identity, finding what's holding you back. And I've filtered this down to a survey and some free resources which you can access on my website. It's just free, you will subscribe to it. So what it does is once you've found what's holding you back, is the next piece in terms of if nothing is holding you back, how far can you go? Right? Ambition is not a vulgar word for women. You are allowed to be ambitious. So everything we said about burnout and exhaustion and everything is not about do less, aspire less for yourself. Aspire truly to your potential, but not at the cost of yourself. And hence we drop that baggage. We find the clarity for you, build that what the vision is you want to accomplish. So that is the E part where we build a 90-day plan, a strategy. Because I come from a tech industry and I have been driving strategies for clients, I said, why not apply the same time bound strategy which delivers you the career trajectory you are aspiring for? You build that. Now, to get to this new goal, a new you have to change things you are doing, everything that we just spoke about. So I work on inner habit reboot. What are the new things you will do? It could be as simple as loving yourself. How do you have your cup of tea? How do you dress every day? How do you love yourself? What are those habits, the 21-day habit rebuilding? What are the habits you need to drop? What are the patterns you need to break? So that's the inner reboot to reinforce your ability to accomplish your target. And the last piece is the brag bag, the elevation of your avatar. What is your brand? What is your identity? I struggled so much when I quit the organization because all my identity was tied to the organizational title, a senior director or the head of, global head of something. What am I without those titles? Right? So once you find your core identity, what is that you want to present to the world that makes you unforgettable? Who will speak for you in the rooms that you are not there? How do you make your network work for you? And this network doesn't build organically. So I spend a lot of time and I have a strategic approach to building a network, not telling you attend 10 networking events. I can't do that. It gives me a lot of fatigue. Finding your gaps in your network, where do you need people? How do you find these people? How do you make sure these people speak for you in those rooms when you are not there? And then how do you project yourself in the marketplace, in the industry as an expert? Because this gone is the time when people would get up from their desk and say, "Oh, Padma, she does a fantastic job. Let's invite her for the next meeting." It's a virtual world. Your expertise is open and judged across, which means it is in your power to mold that to the way that aligns with you authentically. What do you want to project? So that is the elevate piece, a very powerful piece. Everything I have achieved in the last 1 year since I left my organization is proof that this elevate piece works. Otherwise, I won't be talking to Samantha today. Yeah, that is the three pieces: you explore, you empower, and you elevate, while you're also dealing with your inner reboot. And my most powerful tool is the uncertainty expert. I'm a certified uncertainty expert. You must be wondering, are there actually experts in this? Yes, I have got a certification through this organization from UCL University, because uncertainty is the only thing which is certain today, right? And if you are a leader, if you want to be making decisions, how do you handle that uncertainty? And you will stand out if you have that resilience and skill to navigate uncertainty, especially in the AI-led uncertainty in the tech world. So those are all the aspects of the program, and it has been given fantastic results so far because they're all science-based. It is not something that I pulled together randomly. A lot from Harvard, Stanford, etc. are the courses which I attended. So this is exactly what it would deliver. So Samantha, how many listeners on your podcast generally?
Oh, well, I have to look it up. I don't know off the top of my head, but I had one more question for you first.
I want to offer some free spaces for your listeners.
Oh, no, I got you. Give me a few minutes. I got you. I got you. Give me like 2 minutes. I have a signature question that I ask every guest. So, what does it mean to be rooted in your confidence to you?
Not to compromise myself. I put myself first in every decision, every choice I make, and I do not feel guilty about it. Because I feel if I am not safe, if I am not content, I cannot give 100% to the people I love, for the people I care, for a job I pursue. So it is about putting myself first without guilt or regret.
Oh, I love that. I love that completely. Padma, thank you. I'm so excited that you were here, that you shared your story and the knowledge that you have spread through the airwaves to my listening. The number, I'm not sure, but it's a great number that are here and they're listening. And before we wrap up, where can they connect with you, follow your work, and learn more about what you're doing?
Sure. You can follow me at www.transformwithpadma.com. I have also created 7 special spots for you, because with all the breaks, you in the UK, I'm based in the UK, and the summer holidays, but I wanted to create some spaces for listeners on this podcast. These spaces after podcast go very fast. So hence I was asking Samantha, how many listeners? Is 7 good enough number? But yeah, 7 is what I'm going with. But no, if you find no spots, you can join the wait list. And you can join a free discovery call, and it's not just a chat that you would actually will go through factors that are holding you back. When you go onto my website, you'll find some free resource as well as a survey, and it's an introspective survey of factors that hold you back, factors that hold women back, the self-beliefs. So you could just go and respond to the survey. It's free and it helps you think through things, and you can download the free resource as well. But if you join a call and book a call, we'll actually go through some of these beliefs and help you unlock some of what are the prime factors that are holding you from what you truly desire.
Is this for women in STEM space, or is this for
anyone? This is applicable to women. What's holding you back is open to women from any walk of life. My entire program works for women who are in careers. The reason I've zeroed in on women in tech is because of my experience in the tech industry. I can offer a more sharp strategy. Like I can basically hand in and say, this should be a 90-day plan. So that's otherwise the plan or the strategy and the framework has. So they have had men on this program who are now CEOs of football clubs. So it works for all. The Explore piece is very exclusive for women.
Okay, so for 7 women, you're offering 7 spots. Is it a special link that I'm going to have in the show notes, or is this something they
Yes.
have to contact you for?
No, there will be a special link for
Alright.
listeners of Women Rooted in Confidence podcast.
Ooh, ladies, do you hear this? Padma has 7 spots open for you. I'm not sure when you're going to listen to, even if you listen to it at a later date, she is opening up the wait list for you if you click this link. So I'm excited for that. And I thank you in advance for all of my listeners that will click the link and get in touch with you. And again, I want to say thank you to you and to my listeners. I hope you're taking away that your visibility, value, and your voice are not up for debate. You have the right to take up space, to be heard, to lead on your terms. This is rooted in your confidence. And we don't just get to be in the room. We get to keep our seat, hold our voice, and make sure we're never invisible again. Until next time. Sis, you don't have to twist, shrink, or hide. You deserve to be seen, heard, and valued for exactly who you are. If this episode spoke to you, make sure you follow, subscribe, so you never miss the conversation. And if you're ready to take this work deeper, take my confidence quiz. The link is in the show notes. Or book a session with me to start showing up in your career and life with the confidence you deserve. Until next time, walk through the door differently, show up, show out, be you, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Strong and fierce, taking over. No one can deny we're queens in our own right. Swagger on fleek, we're ruling the game, turning heads. Yeah, we're making our own name. Living free, we're breaking the mold. Unapologetic, we're standing bold. Every picture we post, it's a story untold. We're inspired souls, watch us unfold. Watch us unfold. Capture the moment, hold it tight. Every click, every flash, we're shining so bright. Through the lens, we're showing who we truly